Just yesterday, Ripple dropped a cryptic video that featured the headline, "It's happening." This created a lot of curiosity, speculation, and conjecture among the XRP community. And in all fairness, why would they release a video with literally no audio in those exact words right now? And in the news we mentioned yesterday, this is right off the back of institutional players confirmed to be investing hundreds of millions of dollars, including an investment of $121 million from none other than Vivo Power, which is led by Saudi Prince Abdulaziz. And all of this is happening while the price actually recently dumped on the day back down to $2.13, and it's off the local high of $2.65, which has left many investors in XRP confused. But you have to remember, markets don't do what you wish that would happen. Matter of fact, they rarely do that. They also don't have to pump on positive news. So if you've been around the crypto market longer than 3 months, you would know that most of the time, the news itself is already baked into the price, and it does nothing to do anything in terms of the counter trend. In other words, if the trend is down, it's likely going to remain down. If the trend is up, then it's going to be very hard for that to break down. And in the short term, markets move because of market manipulation and big players trying to tank the market, so you sell your bags to them at a discount in a bull market. But in the long term, they move because of steady demand and fundamental growth, which is what we've been seeing with XRP and Ripple. So what was the real reason for this post from Ripple? Are they leaving breadcrumbs and trying to tell the XRP army without exactly telling them, because this would be insider trading or information that's released before its time? Well, we'll be diving into this alongside some macroeconomic news like the bond market and the dollar, which could leave some hints for what comes next for markets and especially crypto. So stay tuned because we have a lot to cover in this video. And before we begin, be sure to enter our weekly XRP giveaway for a chance to win $100 worth of XRP. And here is how you do it. You head on over to Twitter or X, you come to Bull Runners HQ, and then from there, click on the very first post or the pinned post and follow through with these 3 steps. Follow us, like, retweet, and comment XRP on the pinned post, and then subscribe to our daily crypto newsletter. When you click that link, it should take you to bullrunners.com for our altcoin secrets guidebook. It's completely free and it shares the 23 secrets to help you become a crypto millionaire. We have tons of good reviews. The information is bar none some of the best in the space, and we're offering it absolutely free. And when you do that and we confirm that you've done all 3 of those steps, then you are entered into this giveaway. A lot of people actually don't follow through with all 3 of those steps, and we verify and we make sure it is a random winner. So if you want a chance to win $100 worth of XRP, go ahead and go to Bull Runners HQ on Twitter and sign up. And as always, my friend, if you're feeling blessed and bullish, comment 777. And if you're going to be the wealthiest person in your family tree, smash the subscribe button. Hello and welcome back to the channel, my friend. If you're new here, my name is Paul, and you can find me on Twitter or X at PauliDeFi, PAULIEDEFI. In today's trading range, we actually saw quite a bit of volatility as XRP basically dumped from that price of $2.28 all the way down to $2.13, and then we saw a bit of a bounce and a retrace, and we're actually seeing a lot of really positive candles on the hourly. However, volume is really weak into this move, and that's likely due to the fact that some really big traders have been basically trading against each other, and as of recently, this volatility has seen some major whales be liquidated. For example, one trader known as a Bitcoin whale on a 40x leverage was liquidated for over $100 million. And when you come over to CoinGlass and look at the liquidation data, this is actually one of the larger liquidation events we've seen in quite a while. That the longs, or better yet, people that were buying Bitcoin thinking it was going to go up in the futures on leverage or borrowed money that they don't have, got liquidated. Everyone was looking a little too bullish once we hit that 112 range, and XRP looked primed to break out. and that's when everyone gets wrecked. And matter of fact, if you would have actually paid attention to any of the videos where I did technical analysis, or you're one of our Altcoin Pro University members, you would know that I've actually been calling for some potential lows down to 213 and 215. Matter of fact, yesterday. And to prove that to you, I'm going to play a short portion of the clip from a video uploaded about 10 hours ago at the time of this recording, probably within 24 hours of the time of you watching this. And yes, this price action had not happened yet. XRP was trading at about 224, and I expected it to likely break down, but let's have a listen really quick. A lot of the market to break down as well. So to simplify things, this is really what I'm looking at right now. The fact that right now we have XRP just trading below now that 10 and 20 EMA and a legitimate crossover for the very first time since the low at 160, which is not really bullish. And so Bitcoin breaking down is going to hurt XRP. I can say that as almost a matter of a fact. It is not 100% certain. Nothing in markets is, but I'm really confident that if Bitcoin breaks down, XRP will also break down, and arguably even more so. And so to keep things simple, my last range of major support and where I'll be adding to a position but not adding too much risk is somewhere between 217 down to about 214. Anything below that is danger territory for XRP. And essentially that's exactly what happened. Now I'm not going to pretend like I'm the best shot caller in the world, because I actually believe nobody is. At the end of the day, this is a game of risk management, proper expectations, and ultimately playing well enough that you're in the game long enough to win big and lose small. And on this play, I did win big. I did add to my position because I already had a limit order down here. And I hope that you took this play as well, especially if you're one of our Altcoin Pro University members, which I'll explain how to get access to, because I teach you everything you need to know to do the technical analysis stuff on the charts directly with me live. That said, we actually smashed the target of 213 and already are starting to see a bounce back up to 220. I expect this thing to retrace a little higher above that high, and we'll see where things go from there. Now what I want to do is dive into this cryptic post directly from Ripple, and I'm going to share another post from one of the community members talking about how they're leaving breadcrumbs and a riddle, and whether or not I think this is complete BS. And I'm not talking about the post from Ripple, I'm just talking about community members, and I don't want to be negative. I do want to take everything with a grain of salt though, and ultimately remain realistic, because at the end of the day, again, the market's going to do what the market wants. Your goal is simply to be on the right side of it. So let's watch this short video of like 9 seconds directly from Ripple, where they say if it's happening on chain, it's happening with Ripple. And many people believe that's going to be the truth of virtually everything worldwide running on the XRPL. But here we have right now the bull, we have Wall Street, we have Asia, and I'm actually not too sure where that one was from, payments custody, and a stable coin, the fact that it's happening. And a post from a person named Anders said, did Ripple just drop a riddle? A new header image from Ripple's X account showing a euro receipt, a clock, and the Wall Street bull statue. Also, Ripple is following 985 people, while Garlinghouse, or Brad, the CEO of Ripple, is following 589. Now 589, he's kept that there for quite a while. We've actually covered this on this channel, and I likely believe that is because he's simply doing a nod to that old meme of XRP hitting 589. People have been saying that as far back as I can remember, probably 2017, 2018. XRP is destined to go to 589, and maybe that's true way into the future, with a lot of the supply or tokens being burned. Maybe if they really truly went global and were being used in virtually every real world asset type of an transaction. But at the end of the day, 589 in my opinion is completely out of the cards. And so if you disagree, go ahead and let me know why in the comments. Don't just talk crap, because I really don't think most people can truly defend that. Anytime anyone says market caps don't matter, I don't even think they understand what a market cap really is. And it's not just like something that people can ignore, it's sheer mass in physics in markets. Everything in the market in the world, including the biggest companies like Apple with iPhones, has a what? A market cap. It's simply a representation of the money in it. And the bigger it gets, the harder it is to move, because it requires more money. That's what drives the price up or down, buyers or sellers and money. Now, moving backwards, what's really even more interesting is the fact that Ripple itself follows 589, but backwards, 985 people. And again, they've kept them here for quite a while. I do believe they're just playing with the community, and this community really dives deep down the rabbit hole. So I can see why they're doing a subtle nod, especially with the crypto message saying it's happening. At the end of the day, what is truly happening is that we are getting mass institutional adoption. We're starting to see it right now, and someone in the comments actually shared the digital euro will mark the start of the bull market. Christine Lagarde said the digital euro will be launched in October of 2025 with regulations in place. And what's even more interesting is that you can look directly at ripple.com and check out their press releases, where Schumann Financial announced a native integration of its MiCA compliant euro stablecoin. So now we have the RLUSD stablecoin from Ripple, which is going to be backed one for one by dollars, cash equivalents, bonds, you name it, and now a euro stablecoin that is also MiCA compliant that will be brought onto and used on the XRP ledger. This integration brings a euro native settlement asset to the XRPL, and maybe that's what they're nodding to. But at the end of the day, the real big play is going to be stable coins, a blockchain, and ultimately real world assets. In the latest article directly from Ripple, they said, from a vision to a realization, tokenizing real estate on the XRP ledger. This is arguably one of the largest markets in the world, aside from like derivatives or pensions and retirements and debt. And here is where things get extremely interesting, as it's already becoming a reality, and Ripple is going to support groundbreaking pilots such as the Dubai Land Department's real estate tokenization project, a collaboration with Dubai Virtual Assets Regulatory Authority, or VARA for short, and the DFF, or Dubai Future Foundation. This initiative sets to set a global standard for on-chain real estate by directly linking title deeds to blockchain-based representations of ownership. In other words, they are tokenizing assets, and this is actually going to fractionalize real estate in a way where everyone can own or be involved in the ownership of real estate, which was going to be massive. And this is only going to continue to grow alongside the adoption of stablecoins when we get that regulation. This is why major investment firms and exchanges are running to get or provide access for RLUSD, as BitGet is now partnering with them, and they were hinting at that probably within I think the last week, but now they are officially launching it, the fully regulated USD-backed stablecoin issued by the XRPL and Ethereum directly on BitGet. And this news was announced literally within the last 30 minutes. What makes this all even more exciting is that the SEC is becoming more and more lax and taking a stronger stance for crypto versus against it, as now the SEC clarified that the crypto protocol staking on proof of stake networks is not considered a securities offering. This is actually huge for DeFi, and for those of you guys who have not played in it ever before, you have to understand that the majority of blockchains were actually designed to be decentralized, or DeFi, decentralized finance. And if we can actually have all sorts of staking or yield pools or protocols where you can take your crypto that you already sit on and own and put it to work for you in order to earn yield on a proof of stake network like the XRP ledger, then at the end of the day, this is cool by the SEC. It's going to earn you capital, and it's going to allow for institutions to also want to play. Yes, that's going to lower the yield that you earn just by sheer mass, but at the end of the day, this is where the institutions enter and ultimately pump our bags. This piece of news is massive. So it's also important to note that although the macroeconomic side of things isn't looking absolutely wonderful and rosy, things are looking really good for crypto in the long term. So again, in the short term, you might experience some volatility and some dumps and leverage, being liquidated, if you will, bigger players gunning for your stop loss loss, getting you out of the market, buying back in lower before the next major pump. And so any news like this should not ultimately scare you out of the market just yet. Although we're starting to get close to that danger territory, I am liking what I'm seeing on the price action with XRP. But this news can make people afraid sometimes. For example, from stock market news, the $7.5 trillion problem no one is talking about. Asian countries are quietly reversing 30 years of investment in U.S. assets. What happens when the world's biggest buyers of U.S. debt and stocks start pulling out? And this does look scary, but you have to understand that right now, the U.S. dollar is still being used in nearly 50% of global payments, and it's actually the highest it's ever been in more than 12 years, while the euro is not doing as well. In other words, the US dollar is seeing a major deviation of big use all over the world because at the end of the day, people still want to use the dollar. This is solidifying it as the global reserve currency. And although it is inflationary and although the value goes down, there's going to still be a lot of demand for stablecoins as more stablecoin players like RLUSD enter the space. They are going to prop up the bond market by buying a bunch of treasuries and debt in order to back their stable coins. And there's going to be a lot of trade in the crypto world as we get more stable coins because bigger players are going to hold stable coins. And the only thing they're going to use those stable coins for, aside from transacting back and forth, is to buy crypto. So this is all really big news and great for not only the US dollar, the US economy, but also our crypto bags and XRP. While the renminbi stays pretty dang low at about 4% of total use worldwide, and the euro's really dumped, probably because of their ridiculous policies and overregulation on trade. And so with this said, I did notice something really interesting on the crypto quant exchange reserve chart with XRP. As you can see here, before XRP popped off from about $2.10 all the way to about $2.65, there was a lot of XRP being deposited onto exchanges. See this purple line continue to climb up right before the peak. At that point in time, they started dumping or selling their XRP, which caused this sell-off down to the price of about $2.13 we saw recently. There's probably a lot of leverage, but there was also a lot of deposits. But since the local high up here, they've not only been selling their positions, bigger players have been selling their positions, but they've been accumulating back lower and then withdrawing their cheaper XRP from the exchanges. And you can see that is denoted by the purple line starting to decline. So this is actually very healthy, and it looks like we're going to get a decent bounce here in the near future. That said, in the beginning of the video, we did show you how we called that target in a prior video, and that's because I use a lot of the stuff that I teach directly in this course called Technical Analysis Essentials, only available for our Altcoin Pro University members. You can find that by going to altcoinpro.com. Now, in this course, you're going to learn everything from the investment mindset and frameworks for winning, to creating your own personalized game plan, to setting market and limit orders on Coinbase, trading view, trading tools like the trend line or a price and date range, horizontal supports and resistances, how to actually look at candlesticks, what the psychology is behind everything you see on the chart, to your common indicators, and then what I like to call the 4 horsemen of technical analysis. Everything, including all of these resources, is more than worth what you'd ever pay for this, because you can actually be a pro by this course alone when it comes to investing in crypto. But that's not all we offer. When you come to this about section, you can see right here that we have almost 1,000 community members paying $97 a month, and we have one of the highest retentions in the entire industry because the value is bar none the best in the space, and we actually stand by that. You can watch this 13-minute video to check it out and just see what we offer, but we offer 100 plus courses and classes every single week. We have like 4 to 5 calls, not only with our industry experts, with our team of analysts and DeFi researchers, but also myself. On Tuesdays, I host the technical analysis call where I can answer your questions live and dive into the charts and actually do a bunch of stuff that we simply can't get to on the channel. The value is literally endless, and that includes our DeFi yield picks, which are weekly, and we call this our quick win yield picks. And just to give you an example of our last week's yield pick, which many people took advantage of, and it actually paid for their membership completely by earning yield on things they're already holding. If you were to hold XRP and Ethereum and you did it on these networks, you would earn up to 100% APY. Now, it's important to note that that is not guaranteed, that these rates are variable and change, but most people in a single yield farm earn their money back on whatever they pay for this membership. In other words, everything else is a smooth ride. And if the bull market truly does continue to run, then at the end of the day, every single day you wait, you're missing out, because not only are you not putting your money to work for you, but you don't have the right tools or training or resources to make it happen at a very big level and hit your crypto goals. So if your goal is to be like a crypto millionaire this bull market cycle, we offer everything you need to hit that goal. We can't guarantee that result because ultimately you do have to put in the time and you have to have enough working capital, but we can hopefully get you close to that goal. And so this is a great way to just earn your money back. And if you don't, within 14 days, just ask for a refund. But we're not going to share next or this week's DeFi yield quick win because we would love for you to be a member inside of Altcoin Pro. So again, one last time, go to altcoinpro.com to check it out. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. I look forward to seeing you on the other side. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Goodbye.